And I need people to know, I didn't ask Will to come to the table.
Yeah.
That was not my idea.
Mm-hmm.
The false narrative that I helped to create on the red table. Will wanted to come to the table because he didn't want me to be there by myself. He had all the best intentions.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on right now?
My wife's
name out of your mouth, right? And I'm like, there's this healthy Jada is like, tear it down. I don't want that persona anymore. Tear my ego down.
Sorry if I seem a little tired. I've been on the Today Show 14 times in 3 days.
This is what I do. I'm the martyr. And I couldn't really take in his apology.
You and Will decided that you were going to live completely separate lives.
Okay, so you might like live in the same house and have the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
This whole journey, as difficult as it's been, has just brought Will and I closer in such an authentic way.
You guys, check out the book Worthy. It's got a lot of life lessons in it, beautifully written. So, Jada, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
The book's out tomorrow.
I'm going to have to cover this, aren't I?
I gotta do it, man.
What's that noise? Oh my, shit. Let me just take care of this. Damn, that's a cheap candle. That's like the candles my sister used to get when she was a teenager. Okay. Now, if you're already one of my subscribers, I know what you might be thinking. Fly, you're covering 90 Day Fiancé, body cam footage, camp movies from the 90s, unboxing videos. You've got that Cujo video coming up. Oh, Cujo is coming. You're all over the place. But like a fly on the wall, I like to cover what I see in the world going on around me. And lately, all I see going on around me is...
This is what I do. I'm the martyr.
You are not.
And I want to make sure, Will, as long as you're okay, I'm okay.
This whole journey, as difficult as it's been, has just brought Will and I closer in such an authentic way.
That is such bullshit.
Once upon a time in Hollywood, celebrities had a certain way of presenting themselves, a certain way of selling their story. And make no mistake, it is a sales pitch. You know, it's always been but it used to be much more palatable. You know, the celebrity would stand on a red carpet.
What advice could you pass on to your boy right here?
Just stay in it.
Stay in it, yeah.
Just keep on trucking.
Or sit through a press junket, or go on a talk show, make a few jokes.
Well, I mean, you know, as like, what do I get a guy that has, everything? I know you don't have menace to society.
Tell a cute anecdote or two.
I was talking to Eddie today, Eddie Murphy, and he said, hey, make sure you tell Mr. Fantastic I said hi. I said, who the heck is that? He said, your husband. That's what they call him in the magazine.
Yeah, you can.
And plug whatever, you know, project they were selling at that particular time. Was it formulaic? Yes. Was it predictable and safe? Yes. Was it insincere? At times. But it's better than what we have now.
I've been asked to go see movies starring men my entire life, and happily have done so. And I don't know why men don't return the fucking favor.
I still, to this day, have a hard time walking into a froyo shop, ordering yogurt.
Look at it with responsibility. I mean, I am committed to self-improvement, and I work at being the best person that I can be and using this platform for as much good as I can. But it doesn't mean that I don't make mistakes, but I'm very comfortable with that.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try.
No hell below us, above us only sky.
Imagine all the people
Living for today. Yeah.
I didn't live my life for that.
You know, for decades, the formula we had worked. Entertainers had an innate understanding of what their job was. They understood the assignment, and for the most part, they delivered. As an audience, we benefited with generations and decades of icons that left us inspired and in awe. But now what sells is activism and victimhood and checking boxes. It's all about meeting a quota as opposed to telling a story. It's been turned into an auditing process rather than the fun escapism that it used to be.
We're a family, and it's been too long coming, this family.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And we're a global family. You know, we look like the world. For so long, we've seen superheroes that have looked like a small percentage of the world. This superhero team looks like the world. And I also, you know, in the last year and a half, we've sort of learned that we are on the same earth and we all share the same problems, like these boundaries and stuff. They're not as important. These borders are not as important as what we really have in common. And this movie really gets to that. It really gets to the truth of the fact that we're all on this rock together and we have to take care of each other.
That's all I needed. The perfect juncture. You do alter your action, forget your previous method.
And Jada has been around for this transition. And that's when I realized what my angle would be. I want to go back through time, through my Hollywood time machine, and kind of figure out where it all began. I want to figure out how Jada Pinkett Smith went from being quite a sweet, charming young woman.
You did not just say that.
And yes, I stand by that statement. To
Now about Oscar night.
initially, when I was deciding if and how I wanted to cover this topic, I spent a lot of time absorbing what was already out there. You know, it's either a self-indulgent podcast where she cuckolded her husband, or the slap incident, or this tacky new memoir that she's hawking. That tends to be how the trend has been going in terms of how people cover this content. You know, it's one scandal at a time. The internet seems to be reacting to individual side effects of what seems to be a very dysfunctional person, as opposed to looking at the whole picture. Now, I'm mindful, even as I say this to you, and even as I originally wrote this, that I shouldn't be indulging this topic, that it only feeds into someone who's very attention seeking all of the time at any and all cost. But there's something about this story, this saga, that has the essence of a car crashing into a pre-lit dumpster that makes it irresistible. I think part of the reason I feel compelled to analyze this is not just Jada herself, but how this whole public debacle has shifted the way I view Will Smith. And I don't think I'm alone there. He's no longer some godlike A-lister, right? He's no longer some mysterious entity that existed as an idea more than anything else. Now he seems really fragile and vulnerable. You know, I used to think he was arrogant. Now I just want to give this guy a hug. And that slap, right? That slap that I once considered insane and tactless above all else. Now, in retrospect, it kind of makes sense. Not justifiable, but it makes a little bit of sense in hindsight. It was treated like a singular event rather than a symptom of something much larger that was brewing. When did Jada's sales pitch go from being the likable girl next door to being the pseudo-intellectual guru that she is today? You know, peddling stuff like this.
Red table is, why is it called that?
Well, you know, it's the table of purification, where we can bring subjects that may be difficult or not so easy to talk about. And it's also the table of transparency. It's the table of love, the table of passion, the table of friendship, the table of communion.
Let's do a little history lesson on Miss Jada Pinkett Smith. I want to preface all of this by saying this video is not intended to be a biographical step-by-step history lesson on her life. So there's a couple of reasons I don't want to do this. One is that I'm not comfortable helping her profit. Two, I don't trust anything she has to say. And three, I don't feel like it. Let's start with some of the earliest footage I could find. Here's a video of her promoting Menace to Society all the way back in 1993.
First of all, I would like to know what was your first reaction when you read the script for the first time?
My first reaction was, wow. You know, like actress. I've been on a sitcom for 2 years, you know, and it was a change for me, a good change.
I like very much your character in this movie. I think she's very strong. She's very clever. She's very modern, very contemporary character. What do you think about the position of for the black community in the USA in 1993? You think it's very hard to be a black now in the USA?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really do.
So in this clip, she's fine, right? It's pretty stark in contrast to what we have today. You know, she's always had an activist streak, but it's reasonable. You know, she pitches her values and her ideals in a way that's really kind of relatable. And it's not some far off, tangential, out there concept that she picked up at a Reiki lesson that she'll become known for in the years that follow.
I don't know. Once again, you're dealing with a very delicate situation. It's so delicate. It's so many. It's not one solution either. We can't sit down and put our heads together and say, okay, this is the solution to this enormous problem. You know, it's so big. It's so huge. You know?
Yes, racism is bad. Yes, we need to do better. Yes, this is all fine. You know, there's nothing outrageous in this video. Now, let's fast forward to 1996, where she is promoting the making of the California Love video.
Carolina School of the Arts.
Yeah, North Carolina and Baltimore School for the Arts.
Right. And at Baltimore School of the Arts went to school with Tupac.
Yes, he went to school with me.
Well,
I was there first. Yeah, we went to school together, yeah.
what was that whole experience like? I mean, obviously you didn't know he was going to be this big rap star then. But.
I knew he was going to be a big something. That was without doubt. We all knew that. But we had a great time in school. Boy, we had some fun. Those were the days. If we could only go back.
Now, the funniest thing is when I originally watched this clip, I had someone over at my house and she said to me that she sounds like the Cash Me Outside girl.
Catch me outside. How about that? Catch me outside. How about that?
I'm talking to hype now that the video's done. You know what I'm saying?
Here's a clip from around 1996 to 1997, and I apologize in advance for the crusty quality of the video, but I think it's pretty relevant.
But then I got to know the brother. You know,
Now, is he romantic?
Yeah.
What's the most romantic thing you've ever done?
Keenan. On my birthday last year. Now, you know, Pop died September 13th, and my birthday September 18th, and it was the first day of shooting Woo. I was very depressed. And he had to go to Japan. Will did. I was on the set. I got 100 dozen roses. Woo! Okay? I got so many roses that they had to bring my trailer from the set.
It's very interesting to see, again, the contrast between the Jada of yesterday and what we have today. How did it go from being a relationship that was so loving to this?
Would you say she has been instrumental in you and I redefining our relationship?
I would say don't just start filming me without asking me.
Oh my goodness.
If you could film me.
Astaire, come help us again, please. I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just.
Why would she do this? I got some footage of her promoting The Nutty Professor back in 1996. You want to see it?
No.
Well, you're going to have to see it because I sat through it.
Is there ever sort of a little joking competition? Well, they get to sell aliens, and they got little Will Smith dolls and everything. You know, that's cool. I still don't think they're going to make more money than Eddie Murphy and myself and the Nutty Professor. You know, but we'll see. I told him he's not going to get this one, you know, just so easily. I'm going to fight him on this one. See, he's over there trying to chum up Eddie Murphy, you know, thinking he's going to apologize, thinking that Independence Day is going to blow up, but it's not going to happen. That's why y'all need to get out there and go see our movie. Come on, girl.
If you look at these videos, there are little clues all along the way. I don't think that Jada Pinkett Smith's psychology is super sophisticated. I think it's fairly obvious, but you see these clips and you quickly connect what's going on.
I'm hanging in there. Is your hair this short for a roll?
Keep my wife's name out your No!
Oh God, Bobby, don't mention the hair.
No, my hair's always been this short. Really? It's so dark.
Here's an interview she did with Chris Rock on the Chris Rock Show back in 1997.
How you? Jada.
What's that?
Got the big hat for me.
Well, you know, I'm a little disturbed because your costume folks in the back put my little brim back.
We want to see your face.
They pinned it back.
We don't care what you do on the Kenan show.
I couldn't give you the real pimp effect.
Because, you know, they kill black people quick in horror movies.
Real quick.
So, how long do you last?
Let's say don't close your eyes. Don't blink. Don't blink.
It's kind of like a Tyson fight, huh?
Absolutely.
What happened? I can't believe it.
You were doing fine. You had been courteous and receptive to courtesy.
If only someone could go back in time and warn Chris that this is going to happen. But you see what I mean, right? Up until this point, she's been lovely. She's been pleasant and polite, and she's played the game, and she's done a reasonable sales pitch, and there's nothing too outside of the realms. You know, she comes onto these shows, she promotes whatever project she's doing, she gets off, her private life is private. She does the anecdotes, she does the things, but there's very clear lines of how she sells her story. This is where things get a little more interesting, okay? Pay attention. Do you remember how I said my friend said that she reminded her of the Catch Me Outside girl? Well, she saw this video as well, and she said she sounds like a completely different person.
You spend more time producing now, don't you? Or
I spend a lot of time producing, not more time, but
not
a lot
more.
of time.
And it's inspired by your real life. So.
Well, yes, absolutely.
Are you putting any of your own storyline in there a little bit, sprinkling it, or are you just keeping that out?
We're going to keep that out. Keep everything nice, clean, and simple. Yes.
And people doubt you, but you know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, all the time. And when people doubt me, I make it very clear that I know what I'm doing and that you're going to do what I say do.
So, like, you look at this and then you contrast it to a video from, like, 7 years earlier, and you start to see that this is a woman who'll easily shift how she presents herself. Even her body language is completely different. Okay, now let's fast forward to the 2010s, because this is where we get into the Jada of present day, the Jada we all feel we kind of know, you know, the kind of one who does the really phony pseudo-psychological insight kind of, you know, that Jada. So by this time, social media is starting to become a thing, and where celebrities previously had this buffer of their agents and the studios to control how they presented their image, they now had this free terrain where they could have a semi-conscious relationship with the public, you know, through social media outlets like Facebook and YouTube, and later on things like Instagram and Twitter. Now, is this a good thing? In theory, yes. In practice, not so much. Because it turns out that in real life, celebrities, you know, not always, but sometimes celebrities in real life, they're kind of lame.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility for every unchecked moment. For every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every not so funny joke. Every unfair stereotype.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
Every time I remained silent.
Every time I explained away police brutality. Or turned a blind eye.
I take responsibility.
Now, this is when Jada, as far as I can see, starts to decide that she's done doing the usual self-promotion. This is where she begins her metamorphosis into douche Hollywood guru. So technically speaking, Red Table Talk didn't start till 2018, right? But I found this clip from 2013, and it pretty much serves as a blueprint for what Red Table Talk would become. And you can see it right here, right down to the red table.
It has been very difficult to balance being able to do the things that I want to do and also being responsible for you
and your brothers and your father. And I'm constantly, every day, trying to figure out that balance. Figuring out how to help you fulfill your dreams, which your dreams are changing right now, right? At the same time, assisting Daddy in his dreams, assisting your brothers in their dreams, and then trying to figure out what my dreams are.
Looking at the advice she's giving her daughter, it's not terrible, right? Like, it's fairly common sense kind of stuff. It's pretty much saying, you know, this is what you need to do to look after yourself to avoid burnout.
Before the day is done, you better make sure that you take care of yourself. And that's a new thing for me. When you and Jada were first born, I had forgotten how to take care of myself because you guys were my world. You guys were my everything. You still are.
And on the surface, I actually agree with her. Like, I think this is fine as advice to give. But it does mark the beginning of what would become a pattern with her.
It's challenging being a wife and a mother.
I was in a lot of pain, and I was very broken.
Every day when I wake up in the morning, I go into meditation and I ask for guidance from the powers, the intangible powers, and
I just wanted to feel good.
My feeling is how lucky your kids are to have you and Will in this evolved space yourselves.
Right. And that you always have to remember to take care of you first and foremost.
And you said the hardest I ever grieved was for myself, and talked about how giving up your career for your children was a real battle for you.
Me. It had been so long since I felt good.
And I'm telling you something about being a mother and some of the messaging that we get in this country about being a mother, that you have to completely sacrifice everything. But the more happy I am and the more fulfilled I am, it works for the family.
I'm still dealing with foolishness.
Because she don't just...
Would you say that she helped us heal the hurts that we caused one another?
My social media presence is my bread and butter, okay?
You're a bad mother. You're a bad mother if you do anything that makes you happy. You better be at home in it.
Me having the courage to just say no.
Yeah.
But now I had to have the courage to unravel it and just realizing this next 40, I got to do it my way.
Etc., etc., etc.
It's fine, okay? It is to talk about the struggles of being a wife and a mother, that, or a parent, spouse, whatever. That is actually perfectly reasonable. It's a fine line between doing that and constantly reminding the world of everything you gave up. You know what I mean? You do realize your kids can hear everything that you're saying, right? Because you have this huge platform to do it on. I've got to be completely honest. I've had to spend days, just days upon days upon days upon days, looking at Jada footage. And Jada footage from every era. And, you know, she's very full of shit.
The table of passion, the table of truth. The red table. You know, it's the table of purification, where we can bring subjects that may be difficult or not so easy to talk about.
I see your red table of purification and I raise you a green wall of I call you on your bullshit. You know, these mindless people, okay, just as a prime example right here, they'll just clap at whatever she says.
How long have you and Will been married now?
Oh, we've been married 20 years.
Wow.
Because when you get to a place where you can love someone and allow them to be exactly who they are. Right? You know, people who have had the courage to share their testimonies with me have been such powerful elixirs. And I just felt like also in this world today, we talk so much about what's happening on the outside, and we don't talk enough about what's going on within us. And yeah,
What are you talking talking about. All people do these days is talk about themselves. We find out that Willow used to self-harm, partially due to the pressures of fame, which is terrible, right?
She described fame at one point as absolutely excruciatingly terrible.
Yes.
And admitted that she took to cutting.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately we're seeing more of in our young girls.
Absolutely.
You seemed shocked at that.
I was, you know.
Like, that's a terrible thing. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone. Watch how quickly she turns her daughter's struggles and makes them about her.
You know, I was just sharing on my Instagram the other day, you know, of just those times that I was in such deep despair that I've also thought about taking my life, you know, and...
So one thing I'll notice from watching all these videos is that Jada will give these long-winded talks with just like snippets of common sense advice, right? So that way, when you listen to it, it sounds reasonable. And I think it lends her some legitimacy.
We can never forget that at the end of the day, we're all human. I really, whatever your lifestyle may be, what your nationality, your color, your gender, we all bleed the same color, you know? And, you know, it's just a good reminder of that.
Here's another clip that I just kind of picked at random.
Thank you, because you know you were an inspiration for why this happened. You know, when I was going through that really difficult time and you just took me under your wing and you just schooled me on so much and you shared your testimony with me. Aww.
I gotta say, Jada, you live inside of me every day.
Yeah.
I am so proud of your beautiful family. And I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of what you're doing in the world. And I follow you on Instagram, and you always make me laugh, and you always make me think. And something about you makes me fall in love with life.
Oh, that's how I feel about you.
Sweet. Who talks like this, you know? Like, nobody carries on like this at all. Will you excuse me for 1 second? I just have to do something. Listen, I just need to say something to you.
Sure.
So I just wanted to thank you because you were the inspiration for, you know, why everything is happening right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was going through that really difficult time and you just took me under your wing.
Are you taking the piss? What are you talking about?
And I want you to know that you live inside of me every day.
Okay.
And something about you makes me feel in love with life. I'm referencing Jada Pinkett Smith quotes. I actually felt legitimately bad when you reacted to the first line. I was like, oh, she's taking it to heart. Where was I? I completely forgot. Like, this is on their Facebook page. You can find it. But see, this is why Hollywood is a place where you're not supposed to see behind the curtain, right? Because, like, it's not real.
It's all bullshit, folks. It's all bullshit, and it's bad for you.
She's always been a little bit of an activist, granted. There's always been signs of that there, and that's okay. That is okay in small doses to have something you stand for.
Today, women, you have done something so important. Something that you can be proud of. And then you'll have the power to teach your men how to love you. Your men need you. They need us.
But, you know, there's got to be a limit. You got to do that shit off the clock. Like, Martin Sheen is an activist.
We want to use this occasion to no, I'm fine, thank you.
He's a really good actor, you know. She forgot the task at hand. There was less of this.
Oh, it's got to be a dark, sinister side to Will Smith.
You know what? It's not. It's not.
And more of this.
Relationships are really about two people coming together to heal their traumas and grow up.
So the bullshit, right, it was creeping in. By 2018, she launched Red Table Talk. This is when all hell broke loose, right? Okay, so everything got kind of crazy. We sort of, as a general public, mark this as the time of dissent where everything got a bit chaotic because the lines got really blurry. You know, the topics she covers in her show, right? They're extremely telling. I mean, look at some of these topics. How to handle awkward conversations. Are you a toxic forgiver? How mothers damage their daughters. Could this be you?
So there'll be no blaming mother today.
Jada's surprise 50th birthday celebration. Hope it went better than the last one.
The day after her 37th birthday, I hired a team to orchestrate her 40th birthday. I had hired a documentary team. I traced mommy's family roots. Her 40th birthday was going to be my thing.
It was going to be a splash.
It was going to be a splash. Mary J.
Definitely was a splash.
Mary J. Blige performed. I debuted the film, all of that. It was going to be the thing that lifted her out of this midlife crisis. And it was going to be my deepest, most beautiful proclamation of love. And we did it. And I had Mary J. Blige performing. The whole time I'm like, the little boy that wants mommy to say everything was wonderful, right? She's told me that the party was the most ridiculous display of my ego. Crushed.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
Infidelity. Can your relationship survive? What is gaslighting? Could it be happening to you? And the narcissism epidemic. Like, I don't have to say it, do I?
I thought I would bring this flower as just continuously remembering how beautiful we all are on our journey of healing. I just learned a new term, and I know it will help so many of us. Mother hunger.
Right. How do you guys deal with resentment? How do you process that?
That would be his 12-step process. That would be step 4 and 5, right? I think everyone should have the 12 steps in kindergarten.
Tanika, were you ever told you are as bright as the sun? Yeah. I'm a walking origami, girl.
Okay. I'm sorry. Like, I need a break. I need an actual break. I mean, I can't do this anymore. Like I said, I've been watching these videos for days on end. You people are the fucking worst.
What do you mean, you people?
I mean the Pinkett Smiths. They're the worst. They are the actual worst.
Okay.
You know, they're an absolute embodiment of Hollywood, pseudo-intellectual, narcissistic, self-indulgent, self-deluding wankers.
Dang. Yeah. Wow.
They suck.
Okay.
It just sucks, you know? Like, after doing this for a few days, it sucks. Oh my God.
How are you healing?
I'm taking lots of breaks and making sure I remember what a normal conversation is actually supposed to sound like.
It's so important.
You're not going to let me stop, are you?
No, there's no such thing.
Look, we've been at this for a while. I think we need to cut to the chase, okay? I know why you're here. The infamous 2020 sit-down interview with Will and Jada that featured the entanglement. She's recently come out and said that Will wanted to do this all along. I just don't know why. I just can't figure out why he or anyone else would put themselves through this in a way that was not on some subconscious level completely degrading. So this was the first of 3 key events that I think the general public marks as, key moments that shifted the way we view Will and Jada. So the first was this talk, the second was the slap, and the third was that memoir.
What happened, Jada?
Okay, so let's start with, I guess about 4.5 years ago.
Yep.
I think it was about 4 years ago, started a friendship with August. Mm-hmm. And we actually became really, really good friends.
Who wants to be friends with someone 20 years your junior? You know what I mean? By the time you get into your 30s, you look at 20-year-olds like, ugh, no thank you. Like, they're so underdeveloped. You know what I mean? And that's when you're in your 30s.
The outpouring for him from our family was initially about his health.
Yeah. You and I were going through a very difficult time.
Yeah.
And we decided...
I was done with your ass.
Yeah.
Kick her out. What is she still doing there?
We decided that we were going to separate for a period of time and you go figure out how to make yourself happy. I think you need to say clearly what happened.
Yeah, and then I got into an entanglement with August. That's what I said.
An entanglement?
Yes. Yes.
A relationship?
Yes, it was a relationship. Absolutely. I was in a lot of pain and I was very broken.
She is so incapable of taking any ownership whatsoever.
What do you feel like you were looking for?
I just wanted to feel good. It had been so long since I felt good. And it was really a joy to just help heal somebody.
Yeah.
I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
And like part of what screams like epic bullshit is she calls it this lesson to overcome her immaturity.
I actually don't look at it as a transgression at all. Through that particular journey, I learned so much about myself and was able to really confront a lot of emotional immaturity, emotional insecurity, and I was really able to do some really deep healing.
My question is, how immature was she before all this?
I think that the why now is weird.
Yeah, when I say it's been a huge healing on my life and just what I had to confront and discover.
Yeah.
The ugly truths and the beauty. So it was something that I felt like wasn't really ready to be discussed because it hadn't been that.
Why are the camera crew there?
I'm going to get you back first. And then...
You're going to get me back. I think you got me back. I think we're good on that, okay?
This just seems like it's part of some weird hall pass revenge scheme. Like, what is this? I don't even understand what this is. Can you imagine if you, like, hopped in a time machine and you went back in time and you told this scenario to Will Smith fans back in, like, the 1990s or the 2000s, that they were going to be on this thing called a podcast that would be self-produced and they would be divulging their sordid extramarital detail. They wouldn't believe you. And it definitely stripped the veneer of their public image. This was, you know, the first of a few incidents that really, like I said, shifted the way we looked at them, that really created that morbid dumpster fire fascination that we all have today, including myself. And of course, it depicted Jada in this new light. You know, up until that point, you know, she was always the woman behind the man. That was kind of politely how people thought of her. And granted, you know, people made fun of her bit for being a bad actress. She's really not a great actress if you look at her work.
Jada's gonna boycott the Oscars. Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
But, you know, they couldn't deny that she wasn't a loving mother and wife. There wasn't anything necessarily speaking against her character. You know what I mean? Then, 6 years later, Chris Rock struck again.
Javier Bardem and his wife are both nominated. Now, if she loses, he can't win. He is praying that Will Smith wins. Like, please, Lord. Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
And then Will struck him in the face.
Uh-oh, Richard. Oh, wow. Wow.
You know, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen this clip. Every time it creates like this visceral reaction in me every single time I watch it.
It was a G.I. Jane joke. my wife's name out your mouth. I'm going to, okay?
The reaction coming out of Will, it's like palpable, right? It's shocking.
Will Smith just smacked shit out of me.
Chris is in shock.
Okay.
I'm in shock. Lupita Nyong'o, what's her name, is in shock. We're all in shock.
That was a greatest night in the history of television. Okay.
To be fair, there had been bad behavior on all ends here, right? I mean, when I first saw this, I thought, bottom line, Will Smith carried on like an asshole and it was indefensible and what the hell was he thinking and this is bizarre and oh my God, how embarrassing. And it is. It's all of those things, right? But I remember getting into a debate with one of my sisters and she was like, no, he was really upset. And I have to say, my view of this event has subsequently changed since the original time that slap took place. I'm going to explain why in a minute. Look, I'm not going to play the whole video, okay? Because I think we all know how Hollywood likes to jerk itself off. And if you want to see what kind of a bubble environment this is, just watch an entire Oscars ceremony and just see how out of touch they really are. But I just want to show you one snippet because I think this is where we get this like unveiling of Jada and who she actually is. And you guys know the clip I'm about to show you. I'm not necessarily shedding light, but it's all about context.
Art imitates life. I look like the crazy father, just like they said. I look like crazy father, just like they said about Richard Williams. But love will make you do crazy things.
Okay, so the maniacal look on Jada's face during this speech is what gets me. I mean, this is where I think, you know, she's the worst. The only sincere and sane person in that entire auditorium right now is Denzel Washington.
Denzel said to me a few minutes ago, he said, at your highest moment, be careful, that's when the devil comes for you.
Like, this is when it got notched up to the next level. And if there was any doubt, then we had this.
Wide-ranging, revealing conversation made a lot of headlines. We talked about her journey from the streets of Baltimore to the heights of Hollywood, that incident at the Oscar, her battle with severe depression, her relationship with Will Smith, and after all of it, Jada says she's finally feeling worthy. That's the title of her new book. It's out tomorrow.
She went and wrote a tell-all memoir. Just as everything had ran its course, just as Red Table Talk was coming to an end, and just as Hollywood had found some new people to hate, she goes and she publishes this supposedly tell-all book.
All right, you guys, this is the first time I'm going to see the book. We're all together. I have not seen the book yet. We just got the first time.
Imagine requiring this much validation. Like, this is embarrassing. They're literally standing around her chanting worthy. It's like, it's almost like she's regressing. Like, she's the opposite of growing as she goes from like the person we saw in those earlier videos to now. So she goes and she went and did this absurd book tour. And honestly, that was part of what made this video and making this video so hard. Every time I was working on my script and something changed, I had to add yet another snippet from another interview with another revelation tagged into it. Jada and Will have been separated for 7 years. Jada wasn't really rolling her eyes at all. It was just a big misunderstanding. Chris Rock once asked Jada out on a date one time. Tupac is actually the real man she loves, and he even proposed to her one time in Rikers prison. Jada and Will might be getting back together.
Okay, so you might like live in the same house and have the same...
Yeah. Okay. I thought they were broke up.
Snip, snap, snip, snap, snip, snap.
And by the way, I have to replay that clip from the Oscars. I just have to, because remember when she said this?
I don't remember actually rolling my eyes. I think what people saw was me looking at Will going, I told you, I knew he was going to do that.
I'm sorry, but I just gotta, I'm not, again, I gotta call it out.
Jada, I love you. G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it. All right?
Okay, so do you remember when I said there's been a series of events that have changed the way I view Will Smith? I'm being absolutely sincere when I say that the past 3 years have been not just the worst, but in a roundabout way, the best PR that Will Smith has ever had. And hear me out on this one. Yes, on the one hand, he's been made the butt of all these jokes, and it's really, really weird, and there's SNL sketches, and there's all this other stuff that's out there that will forever sort of be part of his legacy now, right? But I've gone from viewing Will Smith as just another arrogant A-lister who's kind of immune to the world around him, to seeing him as fully realized, to seeing him as an actual thought-out human being. And that's something that all the agents in all the world, all the interviews, all the press junkets can't produce. You know, he's gone from being an arrogant A-lister to a cuck to someone incapable of sedating his own rage to finally this. The wild thing is that people are saying they feel sorry for him. I mean, can you imagine people saying this about him 15, 10, even 5 years ago? It would have been unimaginable. There would have been nothing, as far as we knew, to feel sorry for. If he divorced her right now, if he legitimately divorced Jada right now, he could have a career renaissance the likes of Johnny Depp. In the meantime, much to our confusion, he sticks by her side. It's such an aberrant reaction to such strange behavior that goes against all logic, and I think that is at the crux of it. Like, this is a sort of it's a once in a lifetime publicity storm. It's kind of awesome in that respect. But you know, it's true what they say.
Love will make you do crazy things.
And just so I can tie this all in, I want to take you back to where this all began, just so you can fully appreciate the contrast.
First of all, I would like to know what was your first reaction when you read the script for the first time?
My first reaction was, wow. You know, like actress, I've been on a sitcom for 2 years, you know, and it was a change for me, a good change.
And so I have to ask, what happened, Miss Jada? Were you always like this? Or did you just change the sales pitch? Now, if you excuse me, I got to go clear out my algorithm. It's backed up with Jada Pinkett Smith footage thanks to this project. I've been The Fly. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye. So, listen, so I've just been busily working away on my YouTube channel, as you know, and I just wanted to thank you because you were an inspiration for why that... You were an inspiration...
Sorry, what were you saying?
I wanted to thank you with everything because with my YouTube channel, you were an inspiration for why this happened.
Why?
You just were, and I was going through that really difficult time, and you just took me under your wing.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you.
No worries. And you schooled me on so much, you know, and you shared your testimony with me, like when you did that.
What testimony?
Like, you live inside me every day, Colette.
Oh, okay. Is this a wind-up?
Yes.
Why are you doing this?
Because